Egypt condemns Israel's remarks on establishing Palestinian state in Saudi Arabia, calls them a breach of sovereignty and international law. Egypt Foreign Minister stresses importance of ceasefire implementation and Palestinian rights in Gaza during a call with Portugal's Foreign Minister. And Prime Minister Madbouli affirms Egypt's commitment to settling foreign partners' dues and supporting Zohr gas field production. You're watching the latest updates from Egypt on Qnews. Let's move on to the latest developments. Egypt has strongly condemned Israel's recent statements suggesting the establishment of a Palestinian state on Saudi territory, calling the remarks irresponsible and unacceptable. In an official statement, Egypt asserted that such comments directly violate Saudi sovereignty, contravene international law, and breach the UN Charter. Cairo reaffirmed that Saudi Arabia's security and sovereignty are red lines and described Israel's remarks as reckless, undiplomatic, and an affront to Palestinian rights. Egypt has called on the international community to denounce these provocations and uphold the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati has reaffirmed Egypt's commitment to stabilizing the ceasefire in Gaza, ensuring the full implementation of its terms across all three phases. In a phone call with Portuguese Foreign Minister Paulo Rangel, Abdel Ati stressed the urgency of addressing Gaza's worsening humanitarian crisis. He emphasized the importance of ensuring that Palestinians remain in Gaza during the early recovery and reconstruction phases. The foreign minister also reaffirmed Egypt's stance on restoring Palestinian rights, including their right to self-determination and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati and his Ugandan counterpart have emphasized the importance of continued coordination between their countries in regional and international forums, particularly ahead of the upcoming African summit. During a phone call, Abdel Ati highlighted the need to schedule the second round of political and technical consultations this month to advance mutual interests and strengthen bilateral cooperation. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati has reaffirmed Egypt's ongoing support for Mozambique's efforts to combat terrorism, adopting a comprehensive approach that includes security, military, intellectual, social, and developmental strategies. During a phone call with Mozambique's foreign minister, the two officials discussed arrangements for the first round of political consultations between their countries this year. They also addressed key areas of mutual interest, including preparations for the upcoming African Union summit. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati and his Seychelles counterpart have discussed ways to align positions on key regional and international issues to strengthen African unity and cohesion in addressing current challenges. The two ministers emphasized the importance of enhancing consultations ahead of the upcoming African summit to ensure mutual interests for African nations and to advance sustainable development efforts across the continent. Egypt's Assistant Foreign Minister for Climate Change, Environment and Sustainable Development, Ambassador Wael Abdelmagd, has participated in a UNCTAD session discussing the outcomes of COP29 and their impact on global development efforts. During the session, Abdelmagd stressed the critical role of climate finance in tackling climate change and voiced dissatisfaction with COP29's funding goals. He underscored the need for grants instead of loans and called for the preservation of multilateral climate frameworks to ensure an effective global response to the climate crisis. Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has reaffirmed the government's commitment to settling dues owed to foreign partners to support production growth and mutual benefits. During a visit to the Zohr natural gas field north of Port Said, Madbouli expressed full support for international energy companies to continue drilling and exploration activities, emphasizing Egypt's dedication to expanding its energy sector. Egypt's Minister of Electricity, Mahmoud Asmat, has announced an urgent plan to reduce reliance on traditional energy sources and limit dependence on fossil fuels by adding 22,815 megawatts of solar and wind energy capacity by 2030. Asmat also highlighted the allocation of land for renewable energy projects, emphasizing efforts to localize technology, expand the electrical equipment industry, and establish new renewable energy manufacturing sectors. He stressed that these initiatives will leverage Egypt's industrial materials, raw resources, and skilled labor to drive sustainable energy development. Egypt's Minister of Social Solidarity, Maya Morsi, has confirmed that the Egyptian Red Crescent has been actively coordinating with local and international partners since the start of the war in Gaza to ensure the continuous delivery of humanitarian aid. While chairing the Egyptian Red Crescent Board of Directors meeting, Morsi praised the organization's efforts and volunteers in responding to the humanitarian crisis caused by the Israeli war on Gaza. She emphasized that these efforts have been widely recognized at both the local and international levels, including by UN organizations. The Academy of Scientific Research and Technology has announced the success of Egypt's proposal submitted by the Unified Procurement Authority as part of the Egyptian Alliance of Vaccine Manufacturers in securing support from the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention. As a result, Egypt has been selected as the headquarters for a regional center to enhance vaccine manufacturing capabilities in North Africa. Minister of Higher Education Ayman Ashur stated that this achievement reflects Egypt's commitment to advancing the pharmaceutical manufacturing sector, particularly in vaccines, and strengthening scientific research in biotechnology. The annual forum of the General Authority for Universal Health Insurance is set to begin tomorrow in the new administrative capital under the patronage of Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli. Held under the theme Universal and Sustainable Health Coverage for All, the pioneering role of the private sector in achieving comprehensive and sustainable health care, the forum aims to strengthen public-private sector partnerships to advance universal and sustainable health coverage. Egypt's Minister of Transport and Industry, Lieutenant General Kamil al-Wazir, has emphasized that the industrial sector is a key driver of economic growth and a cornerstone of comprehensive and sustainable development. He highlighted the unprecedented support the sector receives from the political leadership. Al-Wazir also announced the launch of the 2024-2030 National Industrial Strategy, a realistic and actionable plan aimed at localizing industry, deepening domestic manufacturing, positioning Egypt as a regional industrial hub, transitioning to a green economy, and boosting the sector's contribution to GDP and exports. Egypt's Minister of Public Business Sector, Mohammed Shimi, has announced that the local production of the Nasr model cars will begin before the end of this year. Meanwhile, the minister revealed that the government plans to expand Egyptelum's production capacity to 1 million tons within 6 years. He also confirmed that officials are reviewing a proposal to establish a new smelting plant at Egyptelum with a 600,000 ton capacity. Egypt's Minister of Investment, Hassan al-Khatib, has highlighted the building materials sector's vital role in meeting local demand and expanding exports to regional and global markets. In 2024, the sector's exports reached $10.635 billion, reflecting a 19% increase. During a meeting with Ambassador Yasser al-Najjar, chairman of Heidelberg Materials for cement manufacturing, discussions focused on enhancing energy efficiency and boosting exports. The meeting also reviewed the waste energy recovery plant project at the Helwan factory, which involves an investment of $30 million. Egypt's Minister of Investment, Hassan al-Khatib, has met with Taha Gilbert Gargour, chairman of Likiko Egypt Group, to discuss the company's current projects in Egypt and its export plans for the coming period. During the meeting, al-Khatib emphasized that the state's current role is to create a business-friendly environment that enables the private sector to take the lead in driving economic development following a decade of state-led economic management. Zamalek has finalized all financial agreements with Tunisian club US Montasser to complete the signing of Ahmed El Jafali. El Jafali has signed a 3.5-year contract with Zamalek for a total fee of $500,000. Under the agreement, US Montasser will receive $200,000 upfront, with an additional $300,000 to be paid at the end of the season. The Egyptian Football Association announced that the Player Affairs Department will close the winter transfer window for the current 2024-2025 football season at 7 p.m. today. Despite the competition among many clubs to finalize several deals, 4 clubs remained out of the race as they have not announced any signings yet. These clubs are Pyramids, Ismaili, Farco, and Tala'a Gish. General Authority for Meteorology expects tomorrow's weather to be slightly cold during the day in Greater Cairo, the Nile Delta, and the northern coasts, moderate in northern Upper Egypt, and very cold at night and early morning across most areas. The authority also predicted misty conditions in the morning on some agricultural and main roads and those near water bodies leading to and from Greater Cairo, the Nile Delta, the northern coast, the canal cities, central Sinai, and northern Upper Egypt. This brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here's what we've been covering. Egypt condemns Israel's remarks on establishing Palestinian state in Saudi Arabia, calls them a breach of sovereignty and international law. Egypt foreign minister stresses importance of ceasefire implementation and Palestinian rights in Gaza during a call with Portugal's foreign minister. And Prime Minister Madbouli affirms Egypt's commitment to settling foreign partners' duos and supporting Zohr gas field production. That's all for now. Remember to stay updated by following Qnews for the latest developments, and thank you so much for watching.